Device. Is this not plugged in? Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. What the fuck? What the hell? Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Oh, is it there? Is it working now? Can you guys hear me? Is it working? What the heck? It's kind of low, isn't it? I don't know what happened. How is it? Can you guys hear me? Let me know how the volume, because it shows that the volume's not very loud. I'm sorry, I thought you guys couldn't hear me. Oh, shnikes. That's so weird. Okay, low though. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I can see that. All right. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna up the gain on this one. I don't even know if this is the mic it's capturing from. This is so weird. Edit filters. Add filter. Gain. There we go. Add gain. Okay, we're gonna crank this up. How's the volume now? Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check. Volume seems fine. How is it now? Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Oh, I don't know what's going on. It's getting better? It's there? Is it okay? It's better. Perfect? Okay, cool. Alright. Oh, thank gosh. Of course, something like that always can never... That happens. Especially when you're live. Anyway, I don't know. I'll have to fix it. Hopefully you guys... Okay, you can hear it? Okay, good deal. I'm sorry, guys. That stuff just happens. I don't know why. It just doesn't recognize the mic when I... through my system that I use the OBS. I don't know why. It's weird. That's why I always, at the beginning, I swear, I always ask, can you guys hear me? And the few times that I don't do that is when the mic is not working. Anyway, we hit 80K, and I just want to say thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I would not be able to do that without your guys' support. So thank you so much. Sound is good to go. Okay. I'm hoping it's better. I'm just wondering if it's this that's capturing my audio or if it's my desktop. But it looks like it's better. Okay, it's better. Cool. All right, guys. Sorry, just audio issues. It happens. All right, so yeah, we got a trip coming up in 2 days. Aiden Clune. I'm just gonna pull this up real quick. Most of you guys know he went missing literally 1 month prior to Dylan Rounds. It was actually April 27th, 2022. Literally 1 month prior. Cases were not related. This is something different. Aiden was suffering some kind of mental health issues. Kind of went on the run and went and stayed in a hotel in Nevada, and then when he woke up on the 27th, he drove a little bit southwest, or mostly south, I guess, and ended up pulling his truck over to the side of the highway and then wandered off, and they tracked him for many miles, but then they lost his trail, sadly, and he has not been seen or heard from since. and there has just been no trace, no clothing, nothing. No, not like with Dylan Rounds, where they found his boots, and he just disappeared, sadly. So anyway, we're going to be going out. Thanks to you guys. This Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be going out there with the family, other volunteers. If anybody's local and would like to join the search, there's the flyer. I've also posted it in my on my channel. There's also I don't know if you guys can scan that, but there's also information about that here. So we'll be going out Saturday and Sunday, and it's just kind of wild that Dylan Rounds, they found his body. Of course, they had to make a plea deal with James Brenner. I think that was really their only option, and we're going to talk about that and some more. A bunch of people are sending me stuff of where they claim that they found his body. I'm not going to show like the alleged location because it's not confirmed, but I will just show like a general area of things. Yeah. So anyway, Mike, sounds like we are sitting in the room with you, Chris. I am taking the mic. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to play part of the video for Dylan Rounds, and I'm going to try to fix this mic issue. I think it is one of these cords came loose, so I am going to fix that. I'm going to play a quick video real quick.
Dylan is the young 19-year-old who vanished over Memorial Day weekend back in 2022. He was a farmer. He moved to the desert town of Lucin, Utah, which is in northern Utah, kind of near the Nevada border, when he vanished. And his family tells me that this morning his remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover true crime, mystery to the missing. 6 trips, 12 days, and hundreds of miles covered between our drone and on land, and we only covered just a small portion of that vast desert in Lucin, Utah. Although it came with a heavy toll, as there was a missing teenager, Dylan Rounds. Sadly, the odds of finding Dylan Rounds were basically slim to none due to the vast desert in northwestern Utah. Dylan Rounds, whose family was from southern Idaho, grew up ahead of his years and matured much quicker than other boys his age. After learning how to farm, when he grew old enough, he was ready to start his own. But sadly, after that dream was beginning to take shape, his life would be snuffed out in an act of a snap moment by someone he and his family had previously helped out. This person, James Brenner, a 59-year-old man who was living in a trailer at a location known as the grain shed. Dylan Rounds arrived early Saturday morning to put his grain truck inside that shed. Okay, guys, give me just a second. I know the volume's all messed up. I'm going to continue playing that for just a second while I fix this mic issue. And then we'll, like I said, we'll talk about the timeline and everything. I can't believe this is happening. Let's see where. But sadly, Brenner was not talking. Brenner would have some hearings pushed back in 2023 due to lack of representation by a lawyer. This was really tough on the family. But Brenner had a new hearing set for this year that was upcoming. And before that hearing took place, here is the breaking news that happened on April 9th, almost 2 years since Dylan Rounds was murdered.
I'm Nate Eaton with EastIdahoNews.com. We have some breaking news to bring you right now. The body of Dylan Rounds has been found. Dylan Rounds, his remains have been found in the remote area of Lucin, Utah. And his family tells me that this morning His remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family. His mother, Candace Cooley, tells me that as part of a plea agreement with James Brenner, the man accused of killing Dylan, Brenner led the investigators out to the site where the remains were on Tuesday morning, which would be today, April 9th, in case you're just tuning in.
Hello?
They got there, they found those remains, and they have been recovered.
Okay, let me see. How's that? Let me turn this one down. Okay, mic check. How is this? I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a mic issue. I think that is better. I just need to hit this gain real quick. All right, yeah, we'll go over why and everything. So we have Tony in the chat, which there's Tony right there. This is Echo Search. So this was, I can hear you talking, Chris. No. Echo now? Good, here. Okay, there was an echo at the beginning. I probably turned that other mic off. It should be good. There's still an echo? Getting better. Okay, there's a delay, so I gotta see. Okay, echo is gone. Okay, yeah, good. All right, sorry guys. There's a delay between me and you guys. It's about like 20 seconds, so I don't know why. It just happens. Of course, when you're live, things go wrong. So anyway, there's Tony. Tony is from EquiSearch. We went out there. The date on that is wrong. October of 2022. It's good, no echo. Yeah, the echo was because I had two mics going on, so that's why there was an echo. All right, we're good now. All right, sorry guys, that's just what happens when you go live. So anyway, we'll recap the timeline just a little bit. Again, like I said earlier, they had talked about or had been sent supposed location of where he was found. Again, I'm not gonna talk about that like specific area. I will talk about a general area, and yeah, and then we'll kind of go over what I think happened as well. And then also I want to thank everybody, and I'll do that here in a bit because we hit 80K, and I told everybody that I would thank everybody because I wrote a bunch of names down who's helped support with the drones. So anyway, just a quick, because we've gone over the timeline a bunch of times. This will be kind of one of the last times I cover Dylan rounds until there's like some other information. So this is kind of a special live, not only for the 80K, but because we searched for him so many times. Anyway, so just quickly, he went missing on Memorial Weekend. It was a Saturday. Dylan was going to park the grain truck because it was raining and there was going to be a storm all that weekend, and he was going to go park the grain truck, and after that he was literally going to go leave to Idaho because that's where his family was, southern Idaho, and this area is in northern Utah. So you have Idaho and southern Idaho and Utah here, and so yeah, that was his plan. He was going to park the grain truck and go spend time with his family for Memorial Weekend. But sadly, that did not happen. On that early morning, he went to go park that grain truck. So he drove his truck to, so for anybody that's not familiar, he had a farm in his camper to the east. And to the west, about, I want to say like a mile, give or take, maybe two. Well, actually, no, it's a little bit more than that. I think it's like anywhere from 3 to 5 miles from the camper to the grain truck, or the grain shed. Anyway, somewhere about there. So he drove, and he actually, before he called his grandmother, who was the last person to ever talk to him, he actually tried to call Brenner. And I think the reason, there may have been more than one reason, but I think one of the reasons he called him is because he had put this padlock on the fence. And I'll show that here in a second. And that fence, to me, and I've spoken with Candace, and we kind of think that that was kind of the catalyst for what happened. It sounds stupid, but this guy, he's just a person that has a quick temper. So he called after attempting to call Brenner, then he would call his grandmother at 6:51, telling her, hey, I'm parking the grain shed, or parking the grain truck in the grain shed because it's raining, and I don't want the feed to get wet, or the seed. And then he was going to leave and go spend time with his family for Memorial Weekend. Brenner had put this, so this is the actual place, and this is the gate. And normally you wouldn't have this padlock right here. I know it's kind of small, and I apologize. But Brenner had put that on. Now keep in mind, this is not his property. He was staying there. It's labeled he was squatting there, but they had a trailer, and guess whose trailer? It was actually the family that gave him the trailer that he was staying in, from what I understand. So they gave him a place to live and everything. And anyway, he put this padlock on. He had a horse as well, so there's some theory that he may have put this padlock on because one time they went out there and somebody didn't shut the gate, and his horse got loose, and he was super mad because he had to go chase after it. Candace has told the story. And so for whatever reason, he put this lock on. So it's believed that maybe Dylan Rounds was calling Brenner to say, hey, I'm coming. You open up this gate because you put this lock on it. And he didn't answer, and he knew it was going to, I think it was already starting to rain maybe by the time he was doing this. And so he didn't have time to wait for Brenner. So he got through the gate, and I'm assuming, once he then drove down, which is, about 10 minutes, or 5-10 minutes to from the gate to the grain shed. Kind of depending on how fast you're going. And anyway, I think Brenner probably heard his truck pull up, got pissed, got really mad, and there was an argument. And sadly, I think probably Dylan Rounds probably got out of his truck. He probably went into got in the grain truck, was parking it, and I think there was probably an altercation just before or during that. And maybe Brenner went and grabbed a gun from Dylan Rounds' truck and sadly shot him over something stupid. And sadly, this boy lost his life. Kind of gone over the other stuff a bunch of times, but the parents would come out. So obviously, I didn't hear from them the rest of that Saturday. They tried to contact Brenner and Dawn, I believe, and they had said, well, we haven't seen or heard from Dylan. And so they got worried because they hadn't heard from him for almost 2 days now. And so they came out that Monday, Memorial Day, and started looking for him. One of the things they found was his boots. The boots were huge because they actually had Dylan Rounds' blood on them. And I'll go over a more detailed timeline of what I think Brenner was trying to do here in a bit. But so they found his boots, and they knew something was wrong because he only wore one pair of boots. So this was his only sole pair of boots. So that means he's out there either wandering around barefoot or something bad happened to him. And then the other thing is when they went to where his camper, his farm was at, they've noticed that his truck was locked. And I think if I recall, he didn't really ever lock the truck because they're in the middle of nowhere. There's probably, let's say, like maybe 5 to 8 people, depending on the time of the year or whatever, that have property out there that stay out there. In a like 6 to 8 mile radius or something like that. So there's, there's nobody around. So I think if I recall, they said it was not normal for him to lock his truck. He would keep the key fob on him, but truck was locked, no key fob, and it had been cleaned, but it was dirty on the bottom. And so they couldn't find the key fob. They eventually would break the back window and noticed some really red flags. They noticed that there was the seat was pulled all the way forward. Dylan Rounds had it always all the way back, and the other major red flag was this knob right here, which is the gears, and it was set to 4 low. The 4 low would not work. And if you guys can, try not to use full names. I see a lot of people saying, if you can, don't say Don's full name, please. Just because we don't know what he did, or if he was ever involved. But yeah, supposedly we'll talk about Don here in a second. But if we can, try not to use his full name. So anyway, so there's all these red flags, and I'm just going to continue here. And so as the days would go on, they would notice that things started returning back that weren't there before. One day, the gun for Dylan Rounds, the 40 cal that he had, showed up in his trailer. And they thought that was kind of odd because they had searched his trailer. It's not a big trailer. And there it is sitting down on I forget exactly where. It's just sitting down there. And they knew they had searched it and it wasn't there before. So that showed up one day. And then the next day, June 2nd, the key fob to the truck was sitting now in the trailer. So clearly that showed whoever was involved was close to this case. And only, there was really only a few people, mainly Jim, of course, Brenner, and a few other locals. But so moving on, eventually they would find Dylan Round's phone in the pond, which of course was huge. It was an iPhone. I don't know what generation it was. And that phone was huge because when they discovered, I know it took some time, but when they finally were able to uncover the data on it, in it was a video that apparently Brenner, after he took Dylan Round's life, fortunately, he accidentally hit the record or something, either when he was handling it, either pulling it out of his pocket or whatever, and ended up kind of recording a time-lapse video where it showed he had blood on his shirt and he was cleaning a gun. And this was huge because they actually recovered his shirt, and that had Dylan Round's DNA on it. So that was huge. Sorry, I know a lot of people are going off in chat. I'm going to pause it here in just a minute. I just want to kind of run through this because I've done it a million times. This is the pond. The pond, it's kind of the only natural water source for many, many miles. It's about the size of a swimming pool. Very beautiful, not deep. And the phone was sitting in here. Of course, we've talked about it when we went out there the first 2 times. We looked at this pond. We were going to search it, but we were told by one of the locals out there that it had actually been searched. So we were like, oh, well, we're just going to kind of look around, see if we can see any clues. But, from what we understood, it had been searched, so we didn't want to get dirty. And plus, we had the drone, and we wanted to cover other areas that people had not previously been searched. But sadly, Brenner was not talking. Okay, so I played this already because, but I'm going to play this real quick.
Brenner
so I
would
get to it
have
real quick.
some hearings pushed back in 2023 due to lack of
Actually, I'm going to pause that. So, of course, Brenner would be arrested, not for the murder originally. He would be arrested. Sadly, he should have been arrested day one, but they didn't. And this is why Candace was really frustrated with law enforcement. She said there was some people that were really helpful, but in general, they really dropped the ball. They kept his boots in the car for several days, which obviously needed to be tested because it had not only Dylan Round's blood on it, but it had his DNA on it. And one of these officers just put his boots in the back of their trunk and then left it, which is absolutely wild. And so Brenner would be arrested for gun charges. He had ended up having a friend, Don. Please don't put his last name in the chat. Don, who also lived out there at the time, and he had Don hold the guns for him. Don came forward, told the FBI that he had these guns. Brenner was not allowed to be having these guns, so he was arrested on that. And then they actually found out that he had an outstanding warrant for aggravated assault or attempted murder the year prior, or a few years prior, I forget the year, for assaulting a man with a chair or something like that. And then, of course, after they recovered the phone and got the data and found out that what was on it, then they charged Brenner with, of course, Dylan Round's murder and the corpse thing. I hate mentioning that because it's tough. So I'll play this. This was kind of just before the whole thing, and then we'll talk about, if you guys haven't heard what the plea deal is, what he got, it's absolutely wild. It's shocking, and it's kind of like no wonder he took this deal. But they were, and I hate to say this word, they were desperate. That's my term, but it's just because it was so vast, and like I said, they had some ideas of where he could be, and I know Tony and EquiSearch knows what I'm talking about. But even if that lead was true, it was going to be a huge feat to be able to find him.
By a lawyer. This was really tough on the family. But Brenner had a new hearing set for this year that was upcoming. And before that hearing took place, here is the breaking news that happened on April 9th, almost 2 years since Dylan Rounds was murdered.
I'm Nate Eaton with EastIdahoNews.com. We have some breaking news to bring you right now. The body of Dylan Rounds has been found. Dylan Rounds, his remains have been found in the remote area of Lucin, Utah. And his family tells me that this morning his remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family. His mother, Candace Cooley, tells me that as part of a plea agreement with James Brenner, the man accused of killing Dylan, Brenner led the investigators out to the site where the remains were on Tuesday morning, which would be today, April 9th, in case you're just tuning in. They got there, they found those remains, and they have been recovered.
So this... Oh, sorry, turn that down. So if anybody doesn't know the deal, this is it. 3 to 30-year prison sentence. 3 to 30-year prison sentence in exchange for the location of Round's remains. Murder. Two counts. Murder and the corpse thing. And he gets 3 to 30 years. I mean, some people could get the death penalty for that. Now, of course, we're not a death penalty state, but that's wild. It's sad, but at the same time, the family, like I said, they were desperate because this place is so vast. And again, they had a few leads. I've kind of talked about a little bit. One of them was they had thought they had seen, tire tracks in a wash, and they thought that was possibly Brenner driving Dylan Round's truck in that wash. And there was also a mention that Brenner had said something prior to Dylan Round's going or murdered, that he had said, if you want to get rid of a body, you could just dump it in the wash, kick a little bit off the wall of the wash, and it'd be nearly impossible to find him. Let me see. I'm just checking chat here. We've got almost 900 people in here. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the channel. I apologize for the beginning of the show with the mic issue. I'll have to cut that out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. But keep in mind, he doesn't, not only does he have these charges regarding Dylan Rounds, but he's already also facing the federal charges with the guns, and knows, which is going to probably be sad, he'll probably spend more time or get a bigger sentence. I don't know, I'm just kind of theorizing or speculating. He may get more time with the gun charges than the actual murder of Dylan Rounds. I could be wrong. Gloria says, and she's been following his case as well. 1A life sentence is 5 life, and second is 1 to 15. So it's better than I expected. Interesting. Yeah, so he's got the charges for murder. He's got the gun charges, and then I'm assuming he's still got to face the aggravated attempted murder. I mean, he had the warrant for that. So I don't know if Gloria can expand on that. I haven't heard anything about that, just that it was mentioned that he had that. So I wonder if they'll pursue that, or if it's just going to take time, because obviously, along with the gun charges, there's a murder and of course a family waiting for justice. So I'm assuming they're kind of doing priority first, but again, I'm not an expert in that area. Yeah, he's not getting out. He was 59, 60 years old. Yeah, so I mean, he's in there for the rest of his life. So at the end of the day, I'm happy for him, because again, this was something we knew that they were trying to do after. Let's see, he went missing in May, June, July, August, September. I think it was, I want to say September, October is when they're like, we want to make a plea deal. And it might have been earlier than that, just because there had been many searches and just no real major results, sadly. Other than that lead in the wash, and a few kind of theories that I'm not going to talk about on those. But the main one was the wash. They were really thinking that he was going to be in the wash. Hey, there's Tony. Amazing guy. He's in the chat right now. He's from EquiSearch. That was really cool. Here's me acting like I know how to work a drone. And here I'm like, oh, Tony, please tell me what to do, because I have no idea what I'm doing. And thanks for Tony teaching me so much stuff on the drone. I mean, I knew how to work it, but the drone we had needed to have GPS and Wi-Fi signal. The apps that I had really needed to have a Wi-Fi signal, and out there the Wi-Fi is terrible. There's not a lot of cell service out there, so I had a little bit of trouble that first day, but we got it worked out. But we covered a lot of ground with the drone, but even though we covered a lot of ground, there was still just so much more to be covered. So again, there was mention, I've been sent a bunch of different things about where they supposedly found his remains. I'm not going to talk about the specific location. If you can, you heard it too, please don't put it in the chat, like, because we don't know. We need to wait until there's actual report, and I'm assuming, that might not be until after everything's done with Brenner regarding Dillon rounds. Again, I just want to mention we're going to be going out literally not tomorrow, but Saturday and Sunday, searching for Aiden Clune. We got a drone. Thanks to you guys, we raised $1,000, and then I got a $1,700 drone. It's Air 3. I've showed it a couple times, and I just can't thank you guys enough. And I've got some names written down. I got a ton of names. And so I want to thank those guys here in just a bit, but I will talk about a few things and the general area of
the
where
6-year-old had been working on Dylan's
But here's a report real quick. I just want to
farm. And while no body had been recovered, court documents showed a time-lapse video of Brenner cleaning a gun with bloodstains on his shirt around the time Dylan disappeared. That shirt later testing positive for Dylan's DNA. But
I do have a belt. I don't know if I had it on that day or not. So what you got to understand is I'm a skinny guy. I don't really have a butt. So, yeah. Yeah, usually I wear a belt. They still find a way to sag down, sadly. But here was a little behind the scenes. This is footage that I sat on for a year and a half because, I didn't want to jeopardize the investigation. But this is the wash that we were kind of searching, and this is just a small tidbit of it. And again, they thought that Brenner could have parked the truck somewhere in this wash that runs miles and forks off. And they thought that Brenner could have dumped his body, because he would have Dylan Round's truck, probably assuming the body was in the bed of the truck, and then would have just dumped his body off on the side near the wall of the wash, and then all he'd have to do is kick some dirt with a shovel or stick, and then he would obviously get buried. And then through time, these walls, as you can see, dirt just kind of naturally starts to crumble and as time would go on, he would just continue to get buried naturally. So if he was in the wash, it was going to be nearly impossible unless there was some kind of footprints or any kind of evidence to lead to a certain area. And I know when we went out there, it looked like the trail that we followed, it looked like it just drove right to the end of the wash and then just turned around and came back. There wasn't like a spot where it looked like it had pulled over to the side or so it's really interesting. I am 6'3". Yeah. So moving on. And for the Patreon and members, I'm going to have some stuff coming out tonight. I was kind of preparing just before the show. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where they supposedly found his remains, but I'm not going to show the exact location. I'm just going to talk about the general area because I don't want anybody going out there because it's, for anybody that's not familiar with that area, you need to be very careful because obviously you're in the middle of the desert, something goes wrong, your car breaks down, and you don't have phone service, something could happen. And so we don't want that happening. Jennifer, support Chris's channel and his pants. Thank you so much. Member for 23 months, almost, I know it's been 2 years. Seems like that. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And shout out to all my wonderful mods. Hope you guys are doing well. Again, we hit 80K. Thank you guys so much. So I'm going to show something interesting, then we'll talk about what I think happened and the general area that they supposedly found him. Like I said, this is very general. We're not going to get too specific. So I'm sure for those that were with me when we were searching for Dylan, this was the second week that he went missing. And we had heard about these trailers. And I know you guys, for those that have been with me, have seen this footage a million times. But I'm going to show something to talk about something. Just I thought I would share because we couldn't share at the time. And it's kind of funny now. So for those that don't know, when we were out there, we had somebody watching my channel that worked with search and rescue. And so, you know, you can go out there with drone footage, right? You go out there with your drone and you film. And, you know, of course, you can watch the footage. But now they have software that you take the footage and you run it through this software. And it'll detect, like, if it plays, it'll detect all these items that are sitting around that are not natural. So it'll know what bushes are, so it's not going to worry about bushes. But anything that's not, like, you know, normal to the environment, you know, like trash or any debris, it'll pick that out. Because, you know, it could be clothing, it could be evidence related to the case. So we had a lady working with us. Anyway, so she's reviewing the footage. Every time we go out there, we'd come back, and then I'd send the footage over to her. She would run it through the software. Well, anyway, one of the times after the second week, I get this email, like, kind of like important email, like, oh, we found something. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And she said, well, look at this trailer. Now, it's probably kind of hard to see for you guys. So, I don't know what the software is called. I never asked her. I kind of wish I did, but I might have asked her at one point, but I don't know. Anyway, it may be hard to see, but I'll play it and it'll kind of move. But pause right there. It almost looks like a head and a shoulder. Almost looks like someone's standing right in this window. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe I'll take a screenshot and I'll blow it up. Yeah, let me take a screenshot and blow it up. Anyway, this is kind of wild. Wait, no, that's not it. Where is the zoom on this? There it is. Oh, what is it? Control plus. So right here, but you have to see it at a certain angle. This one kind of doesn't show it as well. There's like one view of it. Anyway, it kind of looks like a head and shoulders. It kind of looks like a boy standing or somebody standing in the window. And anyway, so they're like, she told me, because she works, like I said, she works with search and rescue, and she also works alongside the law enforcement. I don't know if it was Weber, Box Elder, I'm not sure, I can't remember which county. But she ended up having to call this in as a tip, even though we were both sure, and we know what it is. It's actually the tree, and I'll show you as you play the video. But she said she actually had to tip this in because that's, you know, that's what they have to do. If there's anything that could be, you know, potential evidence in the case. And so they had to send an officer out to check this trailer. I kind of felt bad. I mean, it wasn't my fault or anything, but if you play it, you'll notice it's actually this tree right here is casting a shadow, and it actually moves. You'll see it right here. Watch, it'll get taller, the shadow will, because it's depending on where the camera's at. See right here now, it's kind of starting to peek over the middle trim here. So anyway, they had to call that in and send an officer out. I couldn't tell anybody about it because she told me, you know, anybody tells me, you know, you can't say anything or please don't say anything, I respect that because when we're working these cases, there's sensitive information that we learn, and you know. But yeah, it was wild. Tom, thank you so much, and thank you so much, guys, who donated. I'll come back around. Tom, I wish Dylan's truck had new GPS technology. Oh, that would have been huge. Oh my gosh, Tom, that would have been huge. It would, if he had, yeah, some kind of GPS system in it. I forget the model and year of that truck. If anybody knows in the chat, I'm sure I knew it at one point, but yeah, I think it was a little bit older model truck. But yeah, that was crazy. So again, here's one of the washes. There's tons of washes out there. And just a little bit behind the scenes. But I'm going to talk about, again, the supposed location or general area of where they allegedly found him. Again, this is all speculation. But covering this case, after what I've heard, even though it's rumor right now, it does kind of make sense. And I'll talk about a few of those reasons why I think what they're saying could be true. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. We all love you and your booty too. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, juniper trees. Yeah, junipers. That's right. Let's see. Do you think James has killed before and just got away with it? I don't know. He doesn't come off as a guy that. Now, I think he has the clearly. I mean, he murdered Dylan. Is he smart enough to get away with it more than once? I don't think so, but who knows? But yeah. So here is a kind of a way zoomed out area. What we're looking at, so this is the Utah side right here. And this is Nevada. So we got the border line right here. Of course, we have speculation warning because this is not confirmed. For those that may not know, James Brenner actually had some property on the Nevada side. There's a town, Montello. So we have Montello, Monticello, Monteplier, and there's one more. So I always get those all mixed up because I'm dyslexic and I just reverse, and yeah. So anyway, I do that a lot. So anyway, he had some property out there at one point, but I can't remember if he had like a trailer or something like that. It burnt down. I don't know how it burnt down. I forget. I'm sure I've been told the story, but this was, I think, years before, or a year before Dylan Rounds came around, something like that. But anyway, so that was kind of on the Nevada side, west of. This is Bald Eagle Mountain right here. And then on the right, we have this yellow. This is where the grain shed property is, right here. So what I've been told is that allegedly his remains were found somewhere in Bald Eagle Mountain. Now, in a way, that makes sense because there's a little bit more to that, but I'm not going to go too deep in that because, again, we don't know. And I definitely don't want anybody going out there because it's a very desolate and rough terrain, and you need proper tires, and yeah. But apparently, that's what they're claiming. Again, we don't know for sure, but kind of going off everything that I've experienced in this case. And know what's been searched and hasn't been searched, or not. Well, I wouldn't say I don't know everything on that's been searched, but I know Bald Eagle Mountain. They were definitely searching the caves up there. They were really focused on the caves, but I don't think they were really doing, the like the side by side, grid searches up there. There may have been one or two. I don't know, but as far as I recall, I don't think they, other than looking in the caves out there, and maybe close off the trails that led up to those caves. A lot of this area, because it's huge. I mean, we're so zoomed back out. This is, many miles and very tall, and a lot of places you could hide a body and it would never be found unless the one responsible had told them. Let's see. Yeah, I think he could have been. I think I heard he was a drinker as well. Tom says I think he was drunk and snapped over nothing. Yeah, again, we believe it was kind of part of the fence, because I think he was a person that he had been there long enough that was kind of like his home. And if you think about the gate and the lock, that's kind of like his front door. And with Dylan Rounds, coming in and kicking down that door, he was pissed off. And then again, for those that don't know, Dylan Rounds, again, he was ahead of his age, and he was kind of the boss because it's his farm and he had people working for him. So he's the boss. And so here you've got a 19-year-old telling a 60-year-old man what to do, for work and stuff. And I think there was a point where he kind of rubbed one person the wrong way, or they had like a little, argument, and it was just kind of known that that was Dylan Rounds. He was just kind of ahead of his age. So anyway, I want to talk about the evidence that they found, and then I'll talk about what I think happened if this story is true. So if you notice, the few little pieces of evidence that we had the boots that were a little bit west of the grain shed, and then we had the phone, which is further northwest of that. And then we also had the alleged tire tracks. Well, I mean, there were tire tracks, but they thought it could be a possibility that those tire tracks in the wash were from Dylan Round's truck that Brenner was driving. That was also further kind of northwest. I'm not going to point it out, but it was, over up in this location. So it was almost like the evidence was pointing almost in one direction. And I wonder, in some regards, if he did that on purpose. I don't know about the tire tracks, but the phone and the boots, to kind of throw him one way and then he went the other. True Crime, she knows a lot of the details on this case as well. He didn't have the permission of the legal owner of the property, and the person leasing it didn't have the authority to grant permission for anyone to live on it. Is that at the grain shed? I think you're talking about initials JR, I think. What's this property? Yeah, it was kind of a leased property. So the grain shed property wasn't owned by Dylan Rounds. It was owned by the family. It was kind of being loaned out to them by another person. And so that's why the whole squatting thing, technically was living there, and kind of watching over the area and helping Dylan, he's going to be helping Dylan Rounds with the farm. But yeah, technically, officially he was squatting. So this is what I think happened, kind of going off what I've heard and all the things. Like I said, this is going to probably be one of the last times I cover Dylan Rounds unless there's something big. So I thought I'd just kind of share this. And then we'll get to chat as well. So I think at 7 a.m., it was a little bit before 7, of course. He called his grandmother, but he would get there at probably about 7 a.m. to the grain shed. Altercation happened, and it happened quick. And he was dead before 7:20 because I forget the exact timestamp on the thing. If you guys know in the chat, maybe Gloria knows, that there was a timestamp, the video that he recorded where he's cleaning the gun and he had blood on him. That was taken around like 7:20 a.m. So, I mean, again, it's amazing how things happen so quickly. I've always talked to Steve from True Crime Web, former law enforcement, with like the Idaho murders. Some people can't believe that one person could kill, 4 people in, 8 to 10 minute time frame. And really, things happen like that. It's pretty wild. So, I think that happened. That moment happened. Again, I think he was probably parking the green truck inside, and I think he went and grabbed his gun from the truck. And then they were probably arguing before that, maybe, and then arguing after he got out of the grain truck, and then, of course, he shot him. Moving on, so we know that sadly he was murdered around 7:20 or just a little after 7 a.m. And so we have this time frame, basically just approximate from 7 to 4 p.m. And the reason why I say 4 p.m. is that's when the phone gets dumped at 3:41. So, kind of 4 p.m. ish. So that's a 9-hour window. So this is what I'm going to show what I believe happened in that 9-hour window. It's pretty generic because I don't want to get into specifics, but I think he did put Dylan Round's boots. I don't know why he took them off. I think there could be 2 reasons. One, either they just came off when he was moving the body, and then he left them by the side of the grain shed, or he took them off and he was going to use those to kind of throw, them off. So anyway, either way, he would set those boots down by the grain shed, and I think he actually did that because he did tell them, well, I was the one that threw the boots over by the dirt pile. And so I think that could have been actually the truth. There was just a lot more that he left out. That land that he owned, like I said, there was a fire. I forget the story on it with Brenner's property. I just know he had either a trailer or something out there, and there was a fire and it burnt down. And then I think just after that, I'm not sure exact time frame, Dale Round kind of came around, and then he kind of picked up James Brenner and a few others I'm not going to mention because it just, not necessary. And they were going to help Dylan Round start this farm up. And so then they gave James Brenner an actual trailer to stay in. Because when I first kind of working the case, and out there searching, it wasn't until like a few interviews with Candace that I found out that that trailer he was staying in was given by them. So, they gave him a home to live in, and that's how they repay. So anyway, so I think he loaded Dylan Round, sadly, in the back of the bed of his truck. And this is just kind of a generic, this is not his actual truck. Actually, this went a little bit slower than I thought it would. And I think from there, between 8 and noon, and that would make a lot of sense, and he would go then dispose of Dylan Round's body. And that would take a long time, especially if it was in Bald Eagle Mountain. Again, there's a lot of roads that go up and over, or kind of, I wouldn't say through, a lot of the roads kind of go up and but there are a few roads that you can go from the Utah side to the Nevada side. So it wouldn't be too far off to think that he would dump him out in Bald Eagle Mountain, because he had property on the other side and probably would be familiar with some of these lesser traveled roads that run through this mountain. And I think that would probably take around about 4 hours or so. Like I said, this is really just a very generic kind of time lapse of what may have happened. But again, I don't know if that's really true, but that's kind of the word. Again, we have to wait till there's an official report. Sorry, I'm just looking at chat. Yeah, that's what he was growing, if anybody was wondering. Triticale or whatever, wild word. Yeah, wheat and rye. And he was going to be so excited to grow that out there, in a desert. And I'm sure he could do it. So anyway, I think he got back around noon. And then from there, he would have probably took Dylan Round's truck. And if I'm thinking one of the reasons he had power washed it was because if he had Dylan Rounds in, because I'm sure if Dylan Rounds was sitting in the truck, not in the bed of the truck, there would have been blood, evidence of blood. So yeah, I would assume he was in the bed of the truck. And I'm assuming there was probably, sadly, blood in the back of the truck, and he needed to clean that out. And so I think after getting back, he probably went to the farm. I thought this would go a little bit faster. And he would then park the truck. They had a power washer there. He actually had like a dug aquifer that you can see a hose right here. And so he did have a line from the water. And so anyway, they had a pressure washer there. And I think he pressure washed the truck and obviously cleaned out the bed of the truck. And of course it was raining, storming by that time. And so I'm sure the truck was super dirty. That's why there's all this mud caked under his truck, because he didn't clean out the wheel wells. And so I think for between like 12 and 2, he would have probably cleaned out the truck. And then from there, would have traveled. Now he would have been on foot walking back. And he would end up back at the grain shed. A little bit faster here. And then I think in the last little bit, between 2 and 4, I think he grabbed those boots, because he told that story. Well, found his boots sitting by the grain shed. It's a garage, but Candace would always correct me. It's a garage, it's not a grain shed. But it's just been labeled that. So, and when I start saying garage, people are like, what garage? What? So it's the grain shed. So anyway, his boots could have been placed down by the grain shed. I think from there, he then, in 2 different scenarios, either he took these boots to throw them in the dirt pile near the mound. Now, for those that are not familiar with that mound, the reason why there is a mound, that was actually like where they burned stuff, or at least one area. And so I wonder if he threw those out there and he forgot that he was going to go back and, destroy them. I don't know. But that's one scenario. Or the other more likely scenario is he just tossed them out there and maybe he didn't see because they said the blood splotches were really, really small. So maybe he didn't see that blood on the boots. And so maybe he thought, well, I'll just toss his boots this way to kind of maybe throw him off. So, there's a couple scenarios that run through my mind about the boots. And then the final thing that he would do is he had a horse, and he took that horse, and the track he took was a little bit different than what I've got here. But either way, he ended up at the Lucin Pond, which is kind of northwest of the grain shed. And I think just before 4 p.m., probably 3:30-ish, he had then dumped Round's phone in that pond. And then that phone would have shorted out. And that would have then, of course, when the family came and went to get his records, there's always one last phone signal, ping, and that was at 3:41. I know there was debate about 2:41, 3:41. It's 3:41. A lot of people said 2:41 because once you get to Nevada, you go back an hour. But he's on the Utah side. So this was 3:41 because I know that frustrated Candace and others. So that phone would have died sometime around there in the pond. And that ping was pretty close. Again, keep in mind there's only like 1 or 2 towers, and they're way spread out. There's hardly any service out here. If you have T-Mobile, you don't have any service. I can't remember if it's Verizon or AT&T. I want to say AT&T. You get a little bit of service out there. I was going to go with that. But anyway, yeah, so he dumps the phone, and after that, heads back. Oh, and he gets rid of the horse. Now, I don't know what he was thinking with the horse. I don't know why he let the horse loose. That was kind of weird. Because when they came back, like, the horse was wandering. I forget what they found the horse. The horse is fine. For anybody that's wondering, the horse is fine. Tony, good to see you again. Got to hit the sack, bud. Be safe on your trip. Prayers for all those involved. Thanks for what you're doing. Thank you so much, Tony. Again, that's Tony from EquiSearch. Last time we went out there, he was helping me. It was really cool. So, yeah, that's it. Kind of in a nutshell of what I think, in a general sense of what may have happened. Again, about the location of his body that has not been confirmed. But kind of going off everything that I've experienced, I know a lot of people not a lot of people, but there was a lot of searches in the Bald Eagle Mountain, but they were really focused on the caves. There wasn't really grid searches. And so it would make sense to me that he could be out that way. Plus, again, there's several roads that kind of run up and over Bald Eagle Mountain, and Brenner is kind of familiar with this side of the area, so it wouldn't be too hard to believe that he knew Bald Eagle Mountain, was probably very familiar with this area, and probably had a really good spot out there if that's where he was found. Again, I don't know for sure, but it would. I could see that happening. So, anyway, I hope the horse didn't die months ago. But the horse was fine when he let it loose. I do remember that because a lot of people are like, oh God, what happened to the horse? I can't remember where it was, wandering around somewhere, and somebody took it in. I don't know who. Again, like I said, I never got too much into the politics of things. I've always tried to stay out of that. I just kind of focus on the main stuff. Again, doesn't hurt to get thorough, but for those that know this case and some of the stuff that happened early on. It was a mess. It was a mess. New York Mike, thanks so much for the $5, buddy. Appreciate it. Any donations and stuff, I don't really like to ask for donations, but if you do donate, of course, that's going to go up to the upcoming search for Aiden Clune, which I'm going to kind of talk about for a little bit here. And if you've got some questions, again, I don't know everything. Anna corrected me here. Try Kaylee. Try Callie? Try Kelly. Yeah. But that's what he was growing out there, which is kind of wild. Thanks, Anna. Good to see ya. Yeah. There's a lot that we've covered before. Again, I just kind of rushed a few things, but again, if you guys have some questions, you can put them in there. Again, I want to just say thank you guys so much. We hit 80K, which is so crazy. The next big milestone, 90K and 100K. And then at 100K, you get the famous little play button, and then you're in the cool club. But it would be cool to get that. It really would. I was gonna, while I think I could play. Let me see if I can play this one real quick. Again, for the Patreons and members, I got so much behind the scene footage. Again, this is when we were. I'm sorry, I'm not walking with any kind of gimbal on. So this actually no. Let's not do that one. Let's see, is it this one? There we go. Yeah, this one's okay. Let me just turn down the volume real quick. This was me writing with Texas EquiSearch. Again, I've been sitting on all this footage because, again, this was a potential lead and we didn't want to give anything out. So anyway, I've got a bunch of names. I want to quickly just thank these people, and I'm sure I'm going to probably leave some people out. I've got like 3 pages. So, of course, Jennifer, Michaela, Copperhorse, Jocelyn, D, Karen, thank you guys for the modding and the support. I would not be able to do this channel without your guys' amazing support and modding. Brandy, Anna, Raina, BG, Baby Kisses, Wallflower, Renee, Gil Hurd, Kimberly P, Lisa K, Tom N, Nicole, Sweet Dreams, Gail, Bob, Jenny, Jenny again, Jenny P, Moddies, hey, it's Jay, I think it's I of Apophis. I didn't put the last part. Marie, Allison C, Jenny, Jeannie. Oh, is that one over? Okay, hold on. That's more stuff. And I'll get to questions here in just a second. I just want to shout these people out. Here, I'll throw this up. No, I've played this a bunch of times, but again, like I said, this is gonna probably be my last live I cover on Dylan Rounds, unless there's, if they officially confirm his location, maybe we'll talk about it, because I don't want to give where that location is. If that's true, we don't know, and you just in case that there was something that they may still go out there for, and plus it's kind of a dangerous area, but you need to know what you're doing. You don't want to be just running out there. Elizabeth M, Kylie M, Christina, Heather, Elizabeth J, Julie B, Kathy C, Daniel S. I have like so many pages of names. Henry, Jenny P again, Fur Baby Kelly, Mary Wild, Anna, Jocelyn, June, Azian, Carl, Rhonda, Heather, Sharon C, and just a couple more here. Geneva, Dom, Rosanna, Heather again, and there's a lot of people repeated. And I know there's more, but I just want to take you guys to the bottom of my heart again. Here's the drone that we raised $1,000, and then I covered the rest of it. We got the new DG Air 3. This is what we're going to be using for Aiden Clune search, which is going to be in Saturday. Again, he went missing literally a month prior to Dylan Rounds, and again, the cases are not related, but the families share kind of a special bond because they both had their 19-year-old teenagers go missing, not too far from each other. And it's amazing how these families have come together. And even Justin Rounds, the father, when they were out searching for Dylan Rounds last year, when I was out looking for Aiden, he took a day and a half out of his time looking for Dylan Rounds to take a group of people with him and go and help Amy, Aiden Clune's mother, help search for a day and a half for Aiden. I mean, how amazing is that? So it's truly amazing. These people. Richardson family, thank you so much. Excited to see the 100. Oh, that'd be so cool. Connie, thank you so much. KWAX, appreciate it. USA Kiwi, 1986. Thank you so much for the $4. Was that a wash? Yeah, some of this is a wash that you're seeing. Anything that looks like a mini canyon is a wash. One Way Street. I forgot. One Way Street, I know you donated to. And of course, all to the members, Patreons. That's also support. And I know I've told this story a couple times. That was the second time we went out there, and that was super scary. I mean, my heart was in my throat. Because this is literally, there's like a main road, Pigeon Road, and just south of that. So this is just south of the Grange Head property, not far. And probably about 100 yards off the road or less, and maybe 50 yards actually, wasn't far. We had this, at the time, I had moved it by the time he had actually came back and filmed it. But it was actually sitting up on part of the bush here, and it looked just like a body. It looked like a body covered. And my heart just, as I was walking up on it, I'm like, oh, damn, this ain't good. And so I went out there, of course, had gloves on. And luckily it was just a tarp, it looked like a tarp. Just kind of sitting out in the middle of nothing, but the way it was laying with a little hump in it, oh man, I'll never forget that. Thank you, Peggy. Let's see. Oh, there will be a hearing where he enters his plea in court. Yep. Again, one last thing. If you guys missed it, he got 3 to 30 years for murder. I mean, again, it's messed up, but again, this family's been through 2 years of hell, and they just, again, the chances of finding his body, I've said it many times, are just, the odds were against him, sadly. Let's see. Jenny, there you are, who's donated a bunch of times. Thank you so much, Jenny. So happy about the drone. Thanks for letting me be a part of something so incredible and meaningful. Again, thank you so much, Jenny. That's huge. we are going out Saturday, and we'll have some special stuff for the members of Patreons for that, as well with the Down Rounds case. I'll usually, when I'm droning, I'll have like a, it's not a GoPro, it's a offshoot of a GoPro, but it's just as good in my opinion. Save yourself some money. And then I usually have my phone or another camera that I take, and so I'm always filming, because you never know, when you're out there you could walk past something and not even see it. So I'm always trying to film, as much as I can when we're out there, because you just never know when you're going to walk over or walk past something and you miss it, and it could be an article of clothing, a bone, whatever, so yeah. The note was sent to you and Ranger. I forgot. I'm not sure we're talking about BDS. The note that was sent to you and Ranger. I forgot. I'm not sure if you're talking with somebody else. Apologize. Oh, you're talking with Salty. Let's see. What was the deal he made? He made, and I just answered that, so I think hopefully you heard that. 3 to 30 years. But again, keep in mind he has the gun charges, which are federal charges, so I'm assuming those will be probably just as much, if not more, than what he got for this. So, and he's 60 years old. He's done. But it's shocking, 3 to 30 years for what he did to poor Dylan. It's crazy. That isn't the real Salty crew. I have no idea. But thank you, Star, for the $2. Again, I wasn't really, like I said, I don't have beef with any of those people. I just stay in my own lane. That's what I like. And I just want to help and cover true crime. The drama, yeah, the drama was something else, and I just there's plenty of drama channels. That's just, I'm not one of those. So, but whatever entertains you. If you're entertained, yeah. Let's see. All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Again, Jenny, thank you so much. I know you donated a lot, and so does a lot of other people. Connie, I think I got your $20. Thank you so much, Connie. Tom, I got yours. Lily, thank you so much for the membership. Geneva, I did miss yours. Rest in peace, Dylan. Yeah, finally the family can rest. I know there's some people telling. Well, there's a lot of people saying, that they were so sad for Candace and telling her that they were sad for her. But kind of like what I said with my first live when I found out, I was actually happy. Even though it's sad, we kind of knew what happened to Dylan. So I was more happy than any other emotion, although there was tons of emotions going through me. I said I was kind of ecstatic because, again, I keep repeating myself, the odds of finding him, especially if I don't know, because I don't know what they were doing this in 2023. I believe they could have still been trying to pursue that wash, and if they were stuck on that wash and he was actually found in the mountain range, I mean, yeah, there's just no way they would have found him without making a plea deal. So, Sweet Dreams, thank you for earlier, the $3. Tom, thank you again, buddy. And one more came in. So I'm gonna have one more show Friday, because I usually do a show on Friday. It will be probably a shorter show, same time, start time. But I have to kind of go to bed early because I've got to get up at like about 3 a.m. Saturday morning to kind of load the car up. Well, I'll probably load the car up, but load the car up with a few things and then get out. Because it takes about 3 hours to get out there. It's not far, but they're starting pretty early. Salty. Richardson family, thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate it. And Salty coming in. Hey Chris, this is the fake me in this chat. That other Salty crew does not mean as faking my account. Thanks, Salty Pancakes. I appreciate it. Thanks, Salty. I appreciate the $5. It's kind of funny. Add a little levity at the end. And oh, did I say your name, Sensei? I know it. Oops, sorry. I know I saw your name in there. Let's see. Snacks for the weekend. Good luck, and I hope this weekend is a successful outcome. Stay safe, Chris. Looking forward to seeing MIA maiden flight. Yes. Yeah, we named the drone MIA, acronym, mobsters in action, missing in action, whatever you want to call it. It suits my channel's name, the Mob Crew, same thing, monsters under our bed. So I think it's cool. That came out with the members. So, all right, guys. As I said, this is my last live that I'll be covering doing rounds, unless I think when everything's kind of finalized, I'll probably do one video, maybe a live if there's really something big. But it's kind of wild that this is it. It's over. I've got hours of videotape. Days, actually, I wouldn't say hours. I've got days of video from either drone or just camera. It's crazy. And I've been sitting on it because some of that stuff, especially when we were flowing over the wash, because that was literally the first week that he went missing. If that was Dylan Round's tire tracks, I was wondering, that footage may be important to the investigation of the case if they ever needed, if let's just say they found his body in that wash, they might have needed my drone footage. So there's certain footage I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to sit on until, because I'd hate to delete it and find out they may need, everything they need to, prosecute him. So Jill, good to see you. There's so many people in here. I wish I could shout everybody. Again, Gloria, good to see you. Ball in that case. As is in, thank you so much. Christopo, good to see you, buddy. Sorry I haven't been on. I've been super busy. And now I've got the search coming up. But I think next week I'll be on for sure, buddy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. True crime. I have a project I'd like to do which needs some artsy drone shots. If you want to email me and let me know, I can't promise you anything, but email me and we'll talk. Thank you, Jenny. And again, huge shout out to my mods. We got a lot of people in here, and I do appreciate everybody. I love you guys. I'm sorry. God, I stopped on the blood. Sorry. I cut my finger. Oh, yeah, just the story behind this. So, my cousin, so we would always have a cooler with, Coke, water, whatever in the cooler. And, for some reason, my cousin, when he was done with a Coke can, he would throw it back in the cooler. So what had happened is I'm digging in. I'm driving, by the way. I'm driving, so I got my hand digging into the cooler because I'm thinking I'm just going to go grab a nice cold one. And my finger goes in the in the mouth of the can because it's open. And I literally cut the shnikes out of my finger because my finger went right into the hole. And then as I was trying to pull it out, because I didn't know what the heck my finger was in, and I yanked it, and it just cut my finger open like no other. I mean, it wasn't bad, but as you get, digits bleed. So, but anyway, that was wild. So yeah, a lot of memories, man. And then God, it sucks, when we went out there, my cousin got, what is it called? Oh, where your nerves flare up, and you get the rash. What is that? How come I always forget what that's called? Let me know in chat. Where you flare up, where your nerves flare up and you get the rash on your side. What is that called? I forget. But my cousin got it, and I swear they say it's not contagious, but I highly disagree. No, not hives. It's with your nerves, and you get the rash on the shingles. Thank you. I don't know why I forget shingles. I always want to call it something else, and so my cousin got the shingles. Second weekend we were searching, he gets it, and he was kind of getting sick, or not sick, but he was kind of sore and didn't know why, and then he figured out he had shingles. And then, of course, me and him spent a lot of time next to each other. We're sitting in the car, and what are the odds I get it a week later? And I got it like 10 times worse than he did. My shingles went all the way around, and it sucked. Like the fourth and fifth search that we did, because it lasted like over a month. It sucked, man. Anybody that has the shingles knows what I'm talking about. It is not fun. And for anybody that says it's not contagious, I highly disagree. What are the chances my cousin gets it? He's like 10 years younger than me. He gets it, and I get it a week later. I don't know. I don't think it's like air contagious, but maybe like some kind of contact contagious. I don't know. I was told it's not, but I disagree, because it does. It is. Christophe. It went all the way around. Sometimes people will get it just halfway around you, or just a little bit, and you're sore, and your nerves are just flaring up. And some people, it'll go all the way around. I thought it was from part of it. I thought it was from just sitting in the car for long periods of time, because I was just kind of sore in a bunch of areas. I'm like, it's probably from the surge. And then I started getting the rash, and then, of course, with my cousin already having it, I'm like, no way, I got it. So, people are saying it's contagious. Yeah, in my opinion, it is. I asked a nurse last time I was at the doctor's office. I asked her, I'm like, is it contagious? They just told me no, but yes, it's air like a cold from chickenpox. Right. If you have the chickenpox, you get, and usually older, you get a little bit older, you can get it. But again, I've had a lot of people debate on that, say no, it's not contagious. There are two types of shingles. There's surface and there's bacteria. Interesting. Yeah, this was clearly, I'm assuming, surface. Definitely contagious. Yeah, I swear to God, the last time I was at the doctor's office, they told me no, it's not. So I don't know what to believe, but I just know we both got it a week apart, and we spent, 5 weeks, well, not 5 weeks straight, but, there was 5 different times each week where we were spending the whole day together, pretty much side by side. So, oh, I got shingles when I was driving truck, had it almost a month. It sucks. Yeah, you're driving certain positions, just like anything, certain positions just make it worse. And it was rough. So, well, I don't need a shingles shot now. I got it, so I'm good now. I hope. I don't know. I'll have to talk to my doctor next time, see if I need one. I think he would have mentioned it, because I told him what I had. He's like, well, we can give you some nerve, that gabapentin or whatever. He calls it Morontin, because it's Norontin, and then gabapentin, I think, is the generic or whatever, but they call it Morontin because when you take it for like the first time, it kind of makes you stupid. So, All right, guys. Sorry, I'm rambling on. I just thought to share some stories because, again, this is going to be last time. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Riley Strain. Unless there's, I don't know, there's the Idaho 4 case, but Riley Strain, you know, I know that case is kind of, I wouldn't say done. You know, they found his body. There's a suspicion, you know, because his clothes were missing, you know, came off. And anyway, the family, you know, the one guy, Chris, I forget his other last name, has been saying that there was actually not one, but 2 or 3, at least 2 cameras that actually would have caught that area. You know, for those that are familiar with Riley Strain case, you know, there was all this security footage that followed him, and then of course the one spot that doesn't have security footage, he disappears and then ends up in the river. They think he just fell in because he was very intoxicated. But yeah, they think there's 2 cameras, and yeah, they still want to know about that because they talked to the homeless guy that supposedly last talked to him, and they still think that there could have been. Yeah, I'm sure I butchered that name. Neurontin. Yeah, Neurontin. Yeah, there's Neurontin, which is, yeah, I got gabapentin. I think they're kind of the same thing. I don't know. I don't take it much. I just remember my doctor thought it was funny. Yeah, liquid IV. It's if you're interested in that, I know it's been a while since I've done that, but yeah, I do. If you guys like liquid IV, which is little packet powders, they're kind of like Kool-Aid, you know, sweet flavored powdered stuff. You put in your drink. It's got all these extra vitamins, whatever, in the powder, and they're for different things. For sleeping, there's for energy. The technology is pretty amazing. And yeah, so we have a link in the bottom in the description. If you ever want to buy it, you can use my code, the Mob Crew, and get anywhere from like 15 to like 30% off. They're always doing deals on that stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna bounce out. I love you guys. 80K, woohoo! So awesome. And we'll be on tomorrow. Very short, not very long, because I'll have to go to bed early. But I love you guys. And then for the pets, you know, with the Dylan Round State kind of coming up, I kind of threw everything. I'm so behind. So I'll get the new pet outro probably next week. Probably next weekend. Not this weekend, but the next one, because I'm going to be obviously busy. So, all right, guys. Thank you again, everybody. You're awesome. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.